Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, Chapter 24, Text 18. This is the prose Sanskrit verse, and we won't chant it. We'll do the word for word. Tata Adasta. Beneath the planet known as Vita. Sutale, on the planet known as Sutala. Udara Shava, very greatly celebrated. Punya Sloka, very pious, and advanced in spirituality. Varuchana Atmaja, the son of Varuchana, Bali Maharaja, Bhagavata, unrestrained personality, Maha Indranasya, and the king Indra, Priyam Gauke, Tikir Shamanena, desiring to perform Adite from the Titi, Lakaya, and he retained his body. Buddha, to Brahmacharya, Banamarupena, resting away. Lokatraya, the three worlds. Bhagavat Anukam Paya, and the closest mercy of the Supreme Personality of God. Eva, certainly. Puna, again. Praveshita, cause to enter. Indra Adishu, Ikram al-Mudarikas, and the King of Heaven. The Vijayanaya, non-existing, to some rich, much enriched by such exalted opulence. Shriya, by good fortune, Abhijushta, being blessed, Padarena, I instruct those for serving. Aradhayan, worshiping, him. Eva, certainly, Bhagavantam, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Aradhaniyam, who is most worshipable. Apagata Sajvasa, without fear. Aste remains. Arjuna Api. Translation. Below the planet Vitala is another planet known as Sutala, where the great son of Maharaj of Virochana, Holy Maharaj, who is celebrated as the most pious king, resides even now. For the welfare of Indra, the king of heaven, Lord Vishnu appeared in the form of a dwarf brahmachari as the son of the deity, and tricked Holy Maharaj by begging for only 3 acres of land. But taking all the 3 worlds, taking 3 acres of land, but taking all the 3 worlds. Being very pleased with Holy Maharaj for giving all his possessions, the Lord returned his kingdom and made him richer than the opulent King Indra. Even now, Holy Maharaj engages in devotional service by worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the planet of Sutala. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described as Uttama Sloka, he who is worshipped by the best of selected Sanskrit verses, and his devotees, such as Holy Maharaj, are also worshipped by Unya Sloka, verses that increase one's piety. Holy Maharaj offered everything to the Lord, his wealth, his kingdom, and even his own body. Sarvatman Vedane. The Lord appeared before Holy Maharaj as a Brahmana beggar, and Holy Maharaj gave everything he had. Gave him everything he had. However, Holy Maharaj did not become poor. By donating all his possessions to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he became a successful devotee and got everything back again with the blessings of the Lord. Similarly, those who give contributions to advance the activities of the Krishna conscious movement and to accomplish its objectives will never be losers. They will get their wealth back with the blessings of Lord Krishna. On the other side, those who collect contributions on behalf of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness to be very careful not to use even a farthing of the collection for any purpose other than the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Om again is Chakshurinam Tasma Shri Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Sometimes we wonder what is beyond the basic stages of bhakti. Of course, for so many devotees, it's a struggle to keep up with their basic sadhana. Yet still, we wonder, what would come next? Is everything just struggling to chance to see around and follow the 4 rules? Is that the way it's going to be all your life? Could be, but doesn't have to be. But at least if you do that much, you can make your life successful. Now, success in bhakti has many different levels. But if you can simply chant your 60 rounds every day and follow the 4 rules, you achieve a basic level of success. So we shouldn't underestimate the basics, the foundations, the fundamentals. At the same time, we should know that everything in bhakti is not simply a struggle. There are great delights that await us. And this history of Bhakti Maharaj is very important. We're showing you the depths of bhakti that awaits you. From a material point of view, Bhakti Maharaj's situation looks like one of disaster, great loss. You have to change your vision. And the Bhagavatam is very expert at that, helping you to change your vision. From the ordinary point of view, it looks like India always comes out the most successful, preserving his kingdom, preserving his opulence. And Bali Maharaj loses every day. So you might say, yes, Bali Maharaj has Krishna in the form of Vamana, and Bali Maharaj has the Lord as his personal guard at the door of his palace in Sutta. But Indra's got all the opulence, all the enjoyment. It looks like Bali Maharaj is going to suffer so much at the hands of Lord Vamana. And you might wonder, is this how the Lord treats his dearest devotees? Advancement in bhakti means becoming more and more attuned to pure devotional service. In the beginning, you do what you like to do and offer the results to Krishna sometimes. You're attached to acting in certain ways, and so you give the fruits of such activities to Krishna. You use your abilities for Krishna's service. But as you advance in bhakti, you should become more and more aware of the purity of devotional service, which is demonstrated by Bali Maharaj. He's one of the Mahajas, the great authorities in bhakti, especially with displaying how to surrender everything to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of the 9 processes, Bali Maharaj is the exemplar of surrendering everything. Just like Parikshit Maharaj is the exemplar of hearing. And Shukadeva Swami is the exemplar of chanting the glories of Lord. And Prahlad Maharaj is the exemplar for remembering the Supreme Personality of God. So how is it that Bali Maharaj is so celebrated for his surrendering everything? It looks like he was arrogant, thinking that the universe was his. Let's go back a bit. Bali Maharaj is of the demon dynasty, just as Prahlad Maharaj. Bali Maharaj is Prahlad Maharaj's. In that family dynasty, the greatest devotees have appeared. So Bali Maharaj and his divine managed to conquer and chase out the Devatas, including Indra. It happens. That's why even going to the heavenly planets is not pure. Just like we go on a holiday to a South Pacific island, Arakan, what happens? Sun and surf, and then you hear Reports, cyclone is coming. What to do? Earthquake, tidal wave, tsunami. Just like even in normally placid and peaceful New Zealand, sometimes there are cyclones and floods and high winds. So this is why Krishna advises you in Bhagavad Gita. Don't go to the heavenly planets. Even though the material enjoyment there is 1,000 times better than what's available on the Earth planet. Still there's anxiety, still there are upheavals. Of course, we're so conditioned to material enjoyment that we think where there's better material enjoyment, even though there could be some problems, that's part of life. How can Krishna condemn life in the heavenly planets where you can live so long and your senses can enjoy much better than on Earth? On Earth, the sense gratification is always limited, time-bound, conditioned, severely. Material enjoyment actually is an idea that exists in the mind. And then when you try to execute on the Earth planet, the execution doesn't match your expectations. Still, you can't give it up. This is the amazing aspect of Maya. It's insubstantial what you get, but your desire for it is insatiable. It may take you all your life to figure this out. How could I be so addicted to something that's so insubstantial? And I have such an insatiable appetite for it. What's going on? When you start thinking like that, you're eligible for self-realization. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita dissuades you from seeking better material opportunities. But that seems to be the basis of our life, here and now. Chanting Hare Krishna, yes. Trying to follow the 4 rules, yes. And looking for better material opportunities. Looking for peace and shelter and comfort in the material world. But as we've been hearing, the Devatas were chased out of the heavenly planets. They had to go in hiding, even taking the dress of sannyasis on Earth to avoid the demons tracking them down. So you read in the Bhagavatam how the mother of the Devatas, Aditi is considered the mother of the Devatas, just like Dipti is considered the mother of the Damaniac dynasty. Both are wives of Kashyapa. So she was naturally lamenting, where are my sons? They're all chased out of the heavenly planets. So because of her distress, the Supreme Lord agreed to appear as her son, as the younger brother of Indra. Vamanadeva is also known as Upendra, the younger brother of Indra. And as you'll read in the 5th canto, he gives a different perspective than the 8th canto, where the majority of this history of Bali Maharaj is presented. In the 5th canto, you hear that Indra was so intent on getting back his heavenly post. And that's what Indra approached Vamanadeva to do. Get me back my throne, get me back my power. So Bali Maharaj, in this chapter, 5th canto, chapter 24, is criticizing Indra. This is after the whole series of events with Vamanadeva and Bali Maharaj losing the universe. After all that happened, Indra is saying, why didn't Indra ask the Lord for pure devotional service? Why did he just ask for something so temporary and ephemeral as power in the heavenly planets?
Why didn't Indra's guru, Brihaspati, advise him? You have the presence of the Supreme Lord as your younger brother. Ask him for pure bhakti. Why didn't he do that? So Bali Maharaj in this chapter is faulting both Indra and Indra's guru. Why didn't you give him the pinnacle of bhakti? So similarly, you might be wondering for yourself, where's our pinnacle of bhakti? That requires, to attain that pinnacle, requires understanding the science of pure devotion. So you know what happened. You see, why did Vamanadev resort to a trick to confiscate all of Bali Maharaj's possessions? Because Bali Maharaj, although of the demoniac dynasties, had the blessings of the Brahmanas, and therefore he conquered everything. So the Shastra explains that the Lord doesn't like to interfere with the blessings of the Brahmanas. So he couldn't just grab everything that Bali Maharaj had and give it back to Indra. Vamanadev resorted to a trick. And that way, he didn't go against the wishes of the Brahmanas. So, you know how Vamanadev approached the sacrificial arena site of Bali Maharaj. And all the party of Bali Maharaj couldn't figure out who is this extraordinarily luminous personality. Is he the sun? Is he fire? Is he Sanat Kumar, a great sadhu? What are we looking at here? What's going on? And Bali Maharaj interjected that, in other words, regardless of whoever he is, he must be a very saintly person, a very saintly Brahmana. He's wearing a Brahmin's thread. He's dressed as a Brahmana, brahmachari boy. We'll give him whatever. Charity is so important in a civilized civilization. Not only giving charity, but knowing who is the proper recipient of charity. So Bali Maharaj recognized this Brahmana brahmachari boy is not ordinary. I'm famous for giving charity. Bali is a Kshatriya. It means he's got the Ishwara Bhava, as Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita. He's got the controlling intensity of his emotional state. His emotional state manifests as controlling, heroic. Oh, this is a beautiful Brahmana boy. What would you like? In my family line, we always give charity to the Brahmanas. Tell me what you want. I can give you a village. I can give you a daughter of a Brahmana for your wife. I can give you gold. I can give you cows. Just name it. You've got it. And what was Vamanadev's famous response? Just give me 3 paces of land. Bali Maharaj was astonished. You must be an inexperienced Brahmana boy. You don't know how to get charity. You don't know how to get donations. I can give you so many things, so great. And all you want is 3 steps of land? You're not very intelligent. And what was Vamanadev's response? Very important, the response. It teaches you the principles of satisfaction. Vamanadev gave some loud hints that someone who's not satisfied with 3 steps of land will not be satisfied by possessing the whole universe. In other words, watch out. You're about to lose it. Yeah. So Vamanadev taught these principles that the more you get, the more you want. That's the material life. We have this illusion in our mind that if I just get this material gain, if I just get this kind of material enjoyment, that'll be it. I'll be satisfied. But the whole world is thinking like that. Just a bit more, just a bit more. And they're never satiated. They're never satisfied. Because it is not the purpose of Maya to satisfy you. Oh. Things are not what they look to be. The material energy is made to look so inviting, so enticing. You want relief for your senses. You want relief for your mind. You want to forget your anxieties. All you have to do is this. It looks so inviting. It looks so natural. This is why people have such a hard time thinking about taking up bhakti. You're giving up what looks so natural. What else is there to this world other than acquiring opulence, acquiring comfort, and engaging in sense enjoyment? What else is there to do? It's true, on the material level, there's nothing else to do, but you'll never be satisfied. You'll work and work and work. As I often explain at outside outreach events, I have to explain to people that when Bhagavad Gita talks about work, it doesn't simply mean employment. It means using your senses in any kind of way to connect with sense objects. That's work. You have to endeavor. And that endeavor is a struggle. Manasasthanindriyani prakriti sthani karshati. You're struggling with your mind and six senses in the prakriti sthani, the oppressive material atmosphere. But it doesn't look that way. That's why it's called Maya. It looks so natural, so inviting. But no one is ever satisfied. So Vamanadev warned Bali Maharaj, satisfaction cannot come by increasing your material desires. If you can't be satisfied with 3 steps of land, you won't be satisfied by possessing the whole universe. So as you know, Bali said, all right, do your thing. Take your 3 steps. You don't know, you're not very sophisticated in knowledge. Well, anyway, go ahead, take your 3 steps. And you know how with 2 steps, Vamanadev covered the whole universe. It's not simply that he covered the universe with his 2 steps. With 1 step, he covered the middle planetary system. With the 2nd step, he covered the heavenly planets. He was also filling up the whole space with his transcendental body. So not just his leg steps were covering all this territory. His whole body became that inconceivably big. And then, as you know, where's the 3rd step going to be? And here's where things get very interesting. Vamanadev tells Bali Maharaj, you have not kept your word of honor. You've lied to a Brahmana. You said you're going to give 3 steps. You've only given 2 steps. What am I going to do? You should go to hell for breaking your word to a Brahmana. I have no place to take my 3rd step. I've already covered the whole universe. So Bali Maharaj thought to himself, the possessor of the wealth is more important than the wealth. I'll offer myself. I'll offer this dwarf Brahmana boy to put his foot on my head. He can take me. He thought that would be sufficient. But Vamanadev is continuing to point out, I didn't get my 3 steps of land. And now you must be punished. Even though you're thinking that the possessor of the wealth is greater than the wealth, I didn't get my 3 steps of land. So what happens? Garuda, the king of birds, comes. And he ties up Bali Maharaj with the ropes of Varuna. These are the strongest ropes, and they're painful. And then Bali Maharaj was thrown into a cave. What kind of devotee care is this? Is this the result of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Then Vinjabali, his wife, comes. And for a Kshatriya, proud, heroic, for a Kshatriya to be belittled by his wife, oh, more painful than anything. Vinjabali pointed out to him, you think you're the possessor, the proprietor. That's your illusion. While pointing out to her husband his illusion, she was also sympathetic, of course, as his wife. And so she was indirectly begging Lord Vamanadev, lighten up, lighten up. At the same time, she's chastising her husband. You thought you were the proprietor. You thought you were the controller. Again, for Bali Maharaj to have to be there, bound up, thrown in a cave, and then listen to his wife criticize him. Which was more painful of all the situations? Well, you take your pick. And then Lord Brahma comes. And Lord Brahma tries to be pragmatic with Lord Vamanadev. Look, the Shastra says that if someone gives a leaf, fruit, flower, or water, you'll accept it. And you'll give them even the spiritual world. So Bali gave you the whole universe. And now you arrested him. What is this? What's going on here? Patram pushram palam toyam yome bhaktya priyasati. If you offer me a leaf, fruit, flower, water, you say in Bhagavad Gita. If it's with bhakti, you'll accept. The Shastra says you'll give the whole spiritual world to someone who offers you the most insignificant something, but if it's with devotion. Bali Maharaj is giving you the whole universe. So this way, Lord Brahma was urging Vamanadev, let's be practical here. So Bali Maharaj is condemned to go to hell. Sutala, the destination awarded to him by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a subterranean heavenly planet. So externally, the Lord sent him to hell, but actually the opulence of Sutala was more than the heavenly planets. So now you're starting to get a glimpse of how the Supreme Lord operates. From the external point of view, Bali Maharaj is sent to the hellish planets. But wherever a devotee goes, wherever a real devotee goes, that's the spiritual world. So Bali was dispatched to Sutala, but Sutala, by the Lord's arrangement, became more heavenly than Indra's planet. So you're starting to get insight into what's going on here. And what about Bali's suffering? You can remember when you've lost something dear to you. You can remember what that feels like. It's maybe a parent, a child even, a partner. How devastated you feel. Bali Maharaj lost the whole universe. Think about that kind of attachment. So now he's dispatched to Sutala. But because he's such a devotee of the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord agrees to be his doorman on Sutala and makes Sutala more heavenly than the abode of Indra. Why did Vamanadev treat Bali Maharaj in this way? Taking everything, binding him up, throwing him in a cave, he did that to show the love of a real devotee. Vamanadev was demonstrating for all of us the pinnacle of bhakti, how Bali Maharaj was at the top level of pure bhakti. Bali Maharaj did not give charity to Vamanadev to get something back. He gave charity to Vamanadev to advance in pure love of Krishna. That's the secret of Bali Maharaj. He was not making business deals. He did not give charity to get back more in return, although that is a result of devotional service, but it's not what a pure devotee wants. A pure devotee doesn't play the mercantile game with the Supreme Lord. I give you this, you give me that. Sounds like good business. I give you a leaf, fruit, flower, or water. You give me liberation. This is not Bali Maharaj's mentality. Even though it's true, as we heard in the purport today, that by giving anything for the service of the Lord, you get back much more. That's true. If you give a financial contribution to support the Society for Krishna Consciousness, as Prabhupada points out in the purport, you're not the loser. It comes back to you so much more. But Bali Maharaj is a pure devotee. You want to know what's beyond the fundamentals of bhakti? Here it is. Krishna, take whatever you want, however you want it. I'm yours. This is what Lord Chaitanya demonstrated. Handle me roughly by your embrace. Make me brokenhearted by not being present before me. Doesn't matter. You're completely free to do anything and everything. You're my worshipful Lord unconditionally. So much, it's amazing how attached we can be to using Krishna to fulfill our material plans for security, for prosperity. We don't want to suffer. We don't want to go through tough times. We feel that as devotees, Krishna should prevent us from going through that. But that's not the prayer of Bali Maharaj. Krishna, treat me like you, however you like. Just give me pure love. So you're wondering what's beyond the fundamentals of bhakti. Here it is. Bali Maharaj, from the external point of view, looks imprisoned. He looks ridiculed, even by his own wife. He's lost everything. But he's gained the greatest gift, pure love. And that gift of pure love will always bring him Krishna's presence. Whereas Indra, Bali feels sorry for Indra. He had the darshan of the Supreme Lord as his younger brother. He could have asked Vamanadev for pure love, pure service, but all he wanted was his kingdom back. Poor person, poor Indra. Now it's amazing that Vamanadev told Bali Maharaj in the lifespan of the next Manu, Savarni Manu, I believe, you will be Indra. You see, Indra's reign, Indra is the name of a post, just like Brahma is the name of a post. So the reign of Indra and the Devatas lasts for the span of one Manu, 309, 600,000 years. 309,600,000 years. So Vamanadev tells Indra, tells Bali Maharaj, in the next period of Manu, you'll be Indra. And after that, you go back to Godhead. So it looks like in the end, Bali Maharaj really cashed up. He really scored. But no, he's interested in pure love. So that is the hidden depths of the history of Bali Maharaj. He's demonstrating, I am a devotee, no matter what the Lord decides to do with me. I'll take it as his mercy. It looks like he's confiscated all my wealth. It looks like he's put me into such a painful situation. But one thing Srila Prabhupada points out in the purports, very important for you all. The test of Bali Maharaj was very severe, but the Lord gave him the strength to pass the test. So you might be thinking, I could never go through something like that. But you're not seeing the depths of this history. At the depths of it, you have the Supreme Lord nurturing and nourishing Bali Maharaj so he could withstand all this external loss, external shame. So in that way, the devotee is always victorious by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Bali Maharaj could endure all that humiliation, all that mortification. He could endure that by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And in this way, the Supreme Lord can demonstrate to all the devotees the glories of pure bhakti. So again, you're wondering, what's coming next? If I can chant those rounds, follow the four rules. What comes next? It's all about devotional service and our begging for pure devotion. That was Bali Maharaj's mentality. Not, what will I get in return if I give charity to this Brahmana boy? And why am I being persecuted? As Brahma pointed out to Devamrita, he gave you the whole universe. He gave you more than a leaf, fruit, flower, or water. Why are you treating him like this? The fact is that the Lord wanted to demonstrate the glories of his devotee. How a devotee loves the Supreme Lord no matter what the situation. And because of Bali Maharaj's bhakti, he had the presence of the Supreme Lord on the Sutala planet as a guard, as a doorman. So these are some of the mysteries of bhakti beyond the preliminary stage. Whatever Krishna wants, however Krishna wants. All right, any questions? You start in the front.
What Krishna wants. How do you know what Krishna wants and whenever he wants it?
How do we know what Krishna wants and whatever he wants? What Krishna wants and however he wants it. That's why we have a guru to help us render pure devotional service. Some people have the misunderstanding that I need a guru just to give me the beads, give me a name. No, the spiritual master trains disciples in how to make the bhakti, the devotional service, pure and more pure. It's true, most devotees are just trying to keep up with their rounds and follow the four rules. So they're not inquiring, how can my service be pure? But some will. I like to point out there are disciples and there are disciples. Disciple means that dirty word, discipline. So there are disciples and then there are disciples. Don't assume that everyone who takes initiation is a disciple. But at least the initiation gets their foot in the door. What they do with it is another thing. But those who want to advance in pure bhakti, they utilize the instruction of the Guru how to render increasingly pleasing service to Krishna, which is most important because, as the Shastra explains, as the Acharyas explain, the easiest way to attain the most difficult goal, love of Radha and Krishna, is by serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In dasya, in servitude. That's the only way you can serve Lord Chaitanya, in dasya, servitude. By doing that, you find yourself at the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. This is the secret. So all this sankirtan, outreach, preaching is not just something external. It's actually leading you to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, because you're serving Radha and Krishna as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anything else? Right next to you. Thank you.
Thank you for class, Gurudev. You mentioned how Bali Maharaj, like most Kshatriyas, they have the quality of Ishvara Bhav.
Say, I can't hear you.
You mentioned how Bali Maharaj, he has the quality of Ishvara Bhav.
As well?
The quality of Ishvara
Ishwar
Bhav.
Bhava.
Yes.
He's a Kshatriya, of course.
So it seems when a person has a controlling tendency in general, it's seen as a character flaw. So I was wondering, how do you differentiate between something that's an innate part of a person's psychophysical nature and a character flaw which needs to be removed?
Brahmanas shouldn't have controlling tendencies. Brahmanas inspire, they teach, they show example. But if you're in Kshatriya Varna, yes, you should control. This was the problem at the start of the Battle of Kurukshetra. The Pandavas were denied even 5 little villages to control. They're Kshatriyas, they have to control something. And what was the response from the Kauravas? You won't even get from us the land that, as little a land as what you can drive a pin into. We're giving you nothing. So this is the brilliance of the Varnashrama system, how to use everything, all the abilities for Krishna's pleasure. So the Brahmanas intellectualize, they teach. The Kshatriyas, they control and protect. But we don't have Varnashrama on this earth planet. In India, you see the very vague remnants of Varnashrama. Just like I was in Hamilton doing a program a couple of days ago, and I was introduced to a very nice young man from Bangladesh. He was studying at Waikato University. So I asked him what his name is. He told me very proudly, Vipra. And he said, Brahmana. I said, well, we'll help you to become a real Brahmana. He very proudly told me, my name is Vipra, Brahmana. I said, that's very nice. Now undergo some training to actually be a Brahmana. So in India, you see remnants. Families with surnames like Chaturvedi. But that's it, just the shell. Prabhupada's desire was that at some point in time, his ISKCON society would manifest something in relation to Varnashram Dharma. It's a challenge because the material world is so egalitarian, apparently. It's all a facade. People don't like to be designated as in any kind of way. It's all up to me. I'm self-actuated, an autonomous individual, self-verified. I create my own meaning. What is this hellishness of Varnashram system being typecast as something? I decide even what my gender is. I decide what my hobbies are. I decide how I want to live. It's all up to me. Meanwhile, everyone is becoming more and more the slave of the illusory energy. So Bali Maharaj was a Raj. He had a controlling tendency. Therefore, as I said, it was particularly painful for him to be chastised by his wife. She knew it, but she was also glorifying Vamanadev for what he did, relieving Bali Maharaj of his attachments. She's also a saintly person. In other words, she's saying, yes, you're my husband, but you shouldn't have been so attached, controlling the whole universe. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thanks for the class. My question is, even though Bali Maharaj is an epitome of surrender, but why
Even
did
though
surrender, he is an exemplifying the surrender process, why didn't he go to the Goloka? Why couldn't he make it to the Goloka?
he had Goloka with him in the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So is
His pure service is the spiritual world. Also, he's not a Golokavasi. He's not a Golokavasi. He's a Vaikuntha man.
but didn't the things get dissolved after one Brahma's? The things get finished, the universe get finished at the end of Brahma's life. So
Yes, and so I explained. Vamanadev told him, in the next Manu, you'll be Indra, and then you go to Vaikuntha. But try to understand, this is the point. By Bali Maharaj's pure devotion, he had the spiritual world already.
yes, that's true.
This is the point of pure devotional service.
Okay. It's not just going to the Goloka, but yeah, okay. Thank you.
He's not a Golokavasi. He's a Vaikuntha man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Gurudev. You spoke about how a pure devotee has the mentality that even if Krishna handles me roughly by his embrace, I'm yours.
That's what Lord Chaitanya said. Even though he apparently handles me roughly.
So
That means puts you in circumstances that seem to be quite severe.
So my question is that it seems that our attachment to avoid suffering is a barrier for pure devotional service. So how do we overcome that attachment to avoiding suffering?
By hearing about how Bali Maharaj handled his situation. And of course, the exemplars of sacrificing everything for Krishna out of Brajavadu, the damsels of Vrindavan. We don't understand their sacrifice, how they turned their back on family and ran out to be with Krishna. That's an everyday occurrence these days. What's the big deal, you think? Disregard your family, run out to a nightclub with your boyfriend or girlfriend. What's the big deal? But in a human society, that's considered suicide. Even until recently in India, it's changed so much now. A 12-year-old girl is not home at night. She's considered a fallen. No one will marry her. It used to be like that. Now it's changing to the opposite. So the greatest exemplar of surrender to Krishna are the gopis of Vrindavan. Even when they criticize Krishna, you treated us so bad, we're giving you up. We're going to stop talking about you. They can't stop. So this is what Lord Chaitanya came. He's Krishna coming to explore this pure bhakti of his dearest devotees. He couldn't understand it as Krishna, but he could understand it as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna appearing with the emotions of Srimati Radharani, the topmost gopi, the topmost lover of Krishna. Krishna wants to know, what's it like to be in her position? What's it like to love me so intensely that even though I may apparently mistreat you, you're still my devotee unconditionally? What's that like? He becomes as Lord Chaitanya. So therefore, the most direct and successful way to attain the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna is by pleasing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So again, sometimes devotees wonder, what's beyond the foundations of bhakti? You have to become a servant of Lord Chaitanya to understand what's beyond the foundations of bhakti. And Lord Chaitanya ordered, wherever you go, whomever you meet, teach the science of Krishna. Somehow or other do that. Your family, your friends, your neighbors, your country, your continent, the whole world, other planets, according to your capacity. If you want to go to the deeper depths of bhakti, you have to go there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. Otherwise, you're not going in this day and age. It's too difficult. But Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda are giving away the opportunity. So the more you become attached to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the more you see what's beyond the fundamentals of bhakti. Otherwise, forget it. It's very difficult. You'll just be theoretical only. Oh, Braj, yes. Rasa, yes. You had a question? Okay. Anyone else?
Hi, Krishna. Bali Maharaj ignored his spiritual master's advice when Sukracharya told him to go back on his promise. Did he have some inkling that Vamanadev was the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he did that? Or was it material religiosity that what was the reason?
Sukracharya told him, don't give it to him. He's Vishnu. So Sukracharya told him that. You don't have to keep your promise. You didn't proceed your promise with Om, therefore the promise is nullified. Sukracharya was juggling so many minute technicalities. You don't give charity if it affects your livelihood. It's dishonorable if you have wealth not to give it, some of it in charity, but to give too much in charity. That's considered a condemned situation. To give a little bit. But let me tell you, this Brahmana boy is Vishnu. He's going to take away everything. And what was Bali's reaction? Oh, it's Vishnu? Wonderful. Let me give everything. And then he gets criticized. Bali gets criticized by Vamanadev. You didn't, number one, you didn't give me your third step. You didn't let me fulfill my third step. So you're going to hell. Number two, you disobeyed your guru. You're also going to hell. But I'm going to hell with you. And your so-called hell will be better than Indra's heavenly planet. And I'll be your doorman. Yeah.
In following Lord Chaitanya's instruction to preach, it seems that some personalities have characteristics that allows them to do that better.
Like what?
Communication skills, charisma. It's a social skill.
How about purity?
Yes.
You try to please Lord Chaitanya and those skills will develop in you naturally. You make the effort. That is success, the effort. Whatever you have, whatever you are, whatever characteristics or traits you have, you try to serve Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. If you can see a way to improve your skills, you do that. But your goal is always, how can I please Gauranga Nitai?
So those who have the skill may get more result. The ones who don't may
The
get
results are up to Krishna. It's not that I read how to win friends and influence people and then all the bhaktas come. Krishna's independent. I keep pointing out recently, Prabhupada himself said that when he came to the USA, he expected no success. You know what that's like? He expected nothing. He expected that when he tells the regular principles, people will say, go back to India. He expected zero success. But his godbrothers had made a slight attempt in London and failed. So Prabhupada thought, let me go fail in another place. And his first year in New York, he would go to the boat office and inquire about the Jaladuta going back to India. But he'd get to the office and then he would change his mind.
English was not his first time. Whoever Krishna sent to him, he would try to elevate. So you cannot conquer Lord Chaitanya's sacred tongue with material characteristics. But if you see a way how to improve your service, you can do that. Everything depends on Krishna. Everything depends on the purity of your endeavor. We're not trying for material success. We're trying to make an effort to please Krishna, and that is the secret. It's not hard to see, I understand. We're so hardwired. Measurable results, which are important, but not the most important. The most important thing is that Krishna's in your heart and he sees your effort. Naturally, if you know a way to improve your service, you try to do that. But you don't say, oh, I don't have courage. I'm not a communicator. Whatever you are, make it effort to carry out your words. And Krishna will help it from within your heart.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Like sometimes, like of course, we say that we shouldn't distinguish among the Vaishnavas, saying that this is a Brahmana Vaishnava or a Kshatriya Vaishnava or a Vaishya Vaishnava. Sorry, Maharaj. No, like it is. People say that we should not distinguish among the Vaishnavas, saying that the Brahmana Vaishnava or the. So, but on the other hand, we also say it's important to establish the Varnashrama, this differentiation. So, how do we understand?
Disregard such distinctions. But Srila Prabhupada said, he's from the spiritual world. We want to help everyone. Prabhupada can see that. What's going on today? People can't even be human beings today. So how to organize society so people can clean themselves up, settle down, and make some spiritual person. How do you do that? That's what the Varnashram system is meant for. What you see in the world today is society disintegrated. And then persons from such a troubled background, even it's affecting India, they come to Bhakti and they can't remain steady. It's a subtle point. If you study Srila Prabhupada's discussions on Varnashram, on the one hand, they'll say, we're not Brahmanas, we're not Kshatriyas, we're Vaishnavas. On the other hand, for the sake of showing society how to organize, we take up roles as a Brahmin and Kshatriya. To some point, I want the second should be a bit, we're not, and again, to show, to demonstrate, we take up certain roles. So we're not having a varnashram society, but it's the order of the firm Brahman. How can you can't just miss it. At least you can think about that. So Bali Raj was a Raj. He was a ruler. He conquered even the heavenly planets. But he's one of the Mahajans of pure bhakti. Therefore, when Shukracharya said to him, don't give the 3 steps, it's Vishnu, he'll take everything. Bali Raj said, oh, Vishnu, I'll give everything, sure. And Shukracharya cursed him. And then later, Brahmana criticizes Bali Raj. Number 1, we didn't give you 3 steps. Number 2, you disobeyed your guru. The hell you go. I'm going with you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Puri.
His Holiness Devamrita Swami I SB.